everyone. Today I am going to discuss the 35th question of database management system. Let's see the question. Here's the question set 35, but the scenario is same as in the previous question. So in my previous videos I have discussed these questions related to the same scenario, to this scenario. So I will summarize the scenario. So there's a shoe store called Aralia Shoe Center, and the owner has used to keep information in bill book system. Due to some disadvantages of this bill book system, the owner decided to move into a computer software instead of this book system. So that's the scenario. So in my previous videos I have already created this database and I have already created the tables. So in this question set I'm going to enter this data into the created table. So in the first part of this question we have to enter the data into the table brand. So we have to enter this data into the brand table. I'm using a graphical method to enter the data into the brand table. For that I'm going to use Hades software. So let's see. Here's the Hades software and here's the database which are created in my previous videos. Today we have to enter the data into the brand table. So here's the brand table and we have to enter the data into the brand table. The first brand is DSI. So here I am going to enter the first data into the brand table. It's DSI and the ID I have make it as auto increment in my previous videos when I make in the database. So it will be auto increment. So you can see the brand ID automatically added. Like that I am going to add the other three brands. So you can see I have added all the brands given in the question. So I have completed the first part of the question. In the second part, we have to enter those data into the product table. So here are the details we should enter into the product table. So for that, I'm going to use queries. I'm using insert queries. I'm going to use insert queries to enter those data into the product table. So let's see. So here's our product table and I'm going to enter the data into the product table by using queries. So I'm going to try the first query. So here's the first query I have written. In this query first I have get the database and I have get the product table, because in the question we have to enter those data into the product table. Next I have entered the column name. So here are the column names. The product name, description and brand ID. So these are the column names, but here I have write the column names here I have written the column names except in product ID column, because when I'm making the database when I'm creating those tables, I have already made product ID as auto increment. Because of that, I'm not using product ID as a column name in the query. So these are the given data excepting the product ID. So now I'm going to run this query. So when we go to the product table, so here's the product table and I'm going to refresh this. So you can see the first data has been inserted into the product table. So here's the first data. Like that, like this query, I'm going to write the other queries. So here I have written all the queries which needed to insert the data into the product table. So here are the queries and now I'm going to run this. The queries has been run and here's our product table and I'm going to refresh this. So you can see here are the data we inserted by using queries. So here's the answer for the second question. In the next part, we have to enter the data into the table GRN. So these are the data we should enter into the GRN table. So let's see. Here's our GRN table and here's the GRN table. In this part, I'm going to insert the data graphically. So let's see. So here I'm going to enter the first data. The ID, it's 1. The date is this. Now I'm going to get the ID. The ID of the first is 4. the ID is 4. 4 means Hasita. So here's the first data. Like that, I'm going to add the other data. Like that, I have entered all the data into the GRN table. So here's the question number 4. In this question, we have to enter the below data into the GRN item table. Before going to this question, I'm doing the 5th question, because in the 4th question we have to get the stock ID. To get stock ID, first we have to fill the stock table. So first I'm going to complete the 5th question. That means first I'm going to insert the data into the stock table. So I'm going to insert this data by graphically. So let's see. So here's our database, and first I'm going to enter the data into the stock table. So here's the table, and I'm going to enter the data by graphical. So the quantity is 20 in question, the quantity is 20, and the selling price is 400. So quantity is 20 and the selling price is 400. So here's the first data. Like that, I'm going to add the other data. So here I have completed the stock table. Now we can complete the 4th question. So we can complete the 4th question. In the 4th question, we have to enter those data into the GRN item table. For that, I'm going to use queries. So let's see. Here's the first query. I have written to insert the data into the GRN item table. First, I have get the database name. Next, I have get the table which I'm going to insert those data. Then these are the column names given in the question. So here are the column names, and these are the values which I'm going to insert into the table. So here are the data given in the question. I'm going to run this. So here you can see the data has been inserted into the GRN item table. Like that, like this query, I'm going to write the other queries. Here are the other queries. So now I'm going to run this. Here are the other queries which I'm going to use to enter the data into the GRN item table. So now I'm going to run this. The queries has been run, and here's our GRN table. Now I'm going to refresh this. So you can see data has been inserted into the GRN item table. Now I'm going to discuss the next question. Now I'm going to discuss the 6th question. In the 6th question, we have to enter the below data into the invoice table. So here's the data we should enter into the invoice table. I'm going to insert those data graphically. Here's our invoice table. Now I'm going to enter the data graphically. So the first one is invoice ID is 1, and here's the data, and the user ID is 3. So let's see. Then the data is this, and the user ID is 3. Here's the first data. Like that, I'm going to insert the other data. So I have completed the invoice table. So here's the invoice table. Now I'm going to discuss the last question, the 7th question. In the 7th question, we have to enter the data into the invoice item table. So here are the data, and I'm going to use the graphical method to enter the data. So here's our software, and here's the invoice item table. So the first data is the item ID is 1, and the invoice ID also 1, stock ID also 1, and the quantity is 10. So the first data, the quantity is 10, and the invoice ID is 1, stock ID also 1. Here's the first data. Like that, I'm going to enter the other data. So here I have completed the invoice item table. So today I have discussed the 35th question set. So thank you everyone for listening.